Alright, so let's look at the next lesson plan. This one is, we're starting a new topic, negative effects of technology on cognition. And here we're going to look at the internet and memory, and how the use of computers might have a negative effect on our memory. So let's load up the slideshow here. Okay, so in the last topic we looked at the positive effects of technology and cognition, and I've only included these two. I left out the Facebook and self-image because I do want students to forget about that one come the exam time and focus on the others. But I think it would be remiss if we skipped the effects of social media. And actually that one looks at the positive effects, but we also should be considering the negative effects as well of social media. But I left that out there for the exam. So anyway, positive effects, now we're looking at the negative effects. And there's going to be 3 lessons in this topic. So here we're going to look at the internet and memory. All right, so simple question today: how can the internet influence our memory? Right, the race to the front quiz. This is what we're going to do to review to consolidate the lesson and review what we've done so far. Just a couple of pointers about doing the race to the front. I really like having a bell or something where I make a lot of noise as kids come up with the right answer. I definitely make sure they race to the front. Just getting that movement in the classroom. And having a prize for the winner, and then so you project the questions, and I only project them. So I'll just do this, and then the first team to come up with the right answer, they move on to the next one, and then the next one, and then by the end of the race, all the groups are working on, probably going to be a little bit staggered because they're going to take different times to get there. But it's just that little difference about how to run the race to the front. We'll get a lot of energy to begin with. Okay, then we go through the answers. So this is just the studies that we've done so far, and I've broken the answers into 2 slides. Okay. Memory test. Now here I get the students to try to think, can they remember anyone's phone number at all, and see if they can do it, because and they probably can't, because their phones store the memory, so they don't actually have to think about it. Whereas perhaps you and I still remember my best friend's cell phone number, home phone number from 20 years ago, because I had to remember it, and because I called him all the time, and I couldn't store it in my cell phone. I could have written it down, but it was just easier to remember it. And so that's what we're really getting at. When we had this lesson is about how external memory storage systems might be reducing our ability to keep our memory in our own minds. Right, and then so maybe they might ask their parents. All right, so this lesson has a couple of experiment replications. Now look in the activities files for all the documents, and for this one we're looking at Sparrow's replication. So they have 10 trivia facts, and they're going to write it down. Now the way I've given this, if you're doing it in one classroom, then the instructions are written down. So that way you can do all the 4 different conditions in one class without having to verbally give the different instructions. It just makes it easier, but feel free to adjust it. So they're going to get given a blank piece of, so this is their instructions, right? And then you give them 10 trivia facts and they type it on a computer. So they do need a laptop to be typing to replicate this experiment. Or yes, I think typing better than writing it down by hand. If you can replicate the original like that. Alright, so they follow the instructions, and then after they've had time to write down the 10 trivia facts, you can set the time 6, 8, 10 minutes, however you like. They get a memory test. How many of those trivia facts can they remember? So the 4 different conditions are being explicitly told they have to remember or not, and then there's also being told that it'll be saved and you can use it later, or being told that it'll be deleted. Alright, and then we go through the memory test answers, and then here is the 4 different conditions. So you divide your class into 4, and then they can come up and write their results on the whiteboard. You can collate the data like that, and you can compare about it. And then there's space for them to look at Sparrow et al. Study, right? So write down the Ames method's results. The details are in the textbook. And they can be considering how the internet might affect memory and looking at these questions. So this is the formative work here. Alright, and these slides here for chalk and talk if you want to explain the study. Okay, and then we have the conclusion. Right, then the second experiment is the handwriting versus typing. So they're going to watch a 2.5-minute TED Talk, and half are going to, and you tell them. There are 2 conditions. So again, the files are in the activity, the details are in the activities file, and they can, in the original study, they said use what strategy you typically use or you prefer, to take notes by hand or to take notes by typing. I would suggest replicating that and giving the same instruction, but if you have, like a vast majority going in one condition, then you might want to try to balance it up just for the sake of the test. All right. So these are the questions that they should answer based on the video they just watched. And just to replicate the original, these first 5 are factual-based questions, and these last 2 are more conceptual-based questions. Okay. Then we can go over the answers. All right, and then so this is the factual based question. So how many did they get right in the handwriting? How many in the typing? And then we can analyze the results. Again, space then to write this down in their tables. Now you might decide that actually you don't need them to take the notes because this support pack comes with the flashcards with all these details. So if you want to just skip this and you think it's a waste of time copying it down, that's fine. But here's the key formative work that they have to go through. All right, and then this is Mueller and Oppenheimer. This is the chalk and talk from the original, and here we have the screenshot from the original. All right, and then exit ticket. When are we ever going to use this? So there's a lot of things they can apply practically in today's lesson about how they can use Google, how they can use the internet, how they can challenge their memory. So that lesson, pretty much 2 experiment replications. Now you might find these lessons are designed for 1 hour, but it might be a little bit tricky to get through both of those. So you might need to think about how, maybe they'll have to go over 2 lessons or just adjust the time frames to suit you. But anyway, I'm excited about that lesson. I think that'll be a really good one. Enjoy.